I'm Robin Birkin, an ex-corporate marketer turned online business owner. I took everything I knew and created a six-figure life coaching business in the margins between nap times and a 9 to 5, and I'm here to share with you how you can do the same. Tune in as I share the raw and unfiltered truths, big lessons, and practical tips to help you build and grow a sustainable bread-winning business online that is both peaceful and profitable. Here, we dive deep into all things online courses, funnels, audience growth, and so much more. If that sounds like the things you want to learn, then welcome to Signature Online Course Secrets. Let's go.
Hi, and welcome back. I'm so happy to have you here. If you have not left a rating or a review and this podcast is helpful to you, I would be so grateful to see you write a written review for this podcast. We are at more than 100 episodes, and it is my sincere pleasure to come and chat with you every single week. If this podcast is helpful for you, I would love to get your feedback, and I would love to see you send in a review to Apple Podcasts to help let other people know that this is a helpful podcast as well. I am thanking you in advance. Thank you so much for your rating and review. So today on the podcast, I am talking again about something that is a little bit more mindset based. And it is on the topic of really having that CEO mindset and what makes for an emotionally mature business owner. The more established I am in business, the more I realize that one of the true hallmarks of success is the way in which I genuinely, very rarely panic in my business. I am very regulated and calm in my business, even when things don't go to plan. And I look at clients and I see some of them express true emotional maturity in the way that they too run their businesses. So what are the things that set them apart? And what are the things that I always strive for in my business as a sign of, I guess, that maturity in business and that steadiness in business, knowing that my success is inevitable and that I am in my business for the long term. So I'm not going to talk today about things like you're 1 foot in, you're 1 foot out. None of that. I'm going to talk about the things that I see being the true hallmarks of maturity, being really established and running a really successful business that doesn't feel super stressful. So the very first thing is that the business owners I work with that have that level of maturity know that nothing is ever personal. It can be really hard in the early days of your business when things aren't working. Everybody has things that don't work. Everybody wants success to happen faster. But one of the true hallmarks that I see is that business owners who are established don't take things super personally. So, for example, everybody will have that instance where they get their first rage emailer who they send out emails because they're in a launch and someone replies back with rage. How dare you send so many emails, or how dare you have a product and don't help people for free? And there's a moment when you first run your business when you're like, oh no, am I a scammer? Am I taking advantage of people? Am I sending too many emails? What is it? And the answer is no. The answer is that one person out of thousands thought that and you let it get to you. And I always think about the actual numbers. If one person out of that many people felt outraged, that's a pretty good number. That's a pretty low number. When I think so I used to have 20,000 downloads per month of my podcast. I used to have, 7,000 people on my email list. I used to reach hundreds of thousands of people on Instagram every single month. My best ever webinar was about 1,500 people. And all up, I reckon maybe just 20 rage messages or rage emailers. So when I look at the numbers, I'm like, that's really not that many people. But when we're really mature and established in business, we have that understanding that actually it's not personal. It's not me. This is what's happening. You are no doubt someone who is highly ethical, who wants to help people, provide exceptional value, and really deliver great service. I'm seeing you here, whether you're walking, whether you're in your car, whatever it is, and I know it because you are the type of person that listens to this podcast, and the type of people who listen to this podcast are really great and ethical people. But you are also running a business, and businesses send emails. Businesses have products and services. And as part of that, you need to send emails and launch products, have that momentum in your business. And so there are always going to be inevitably launches that don't go to plan. That doesn't necessarily stop. Like, you don't reach a point where magically everything works and is great. There, you are inevitably going to have rage, emailers and messengers, people who disagree with your opinion. And the more you step into your thought leadership, the more that will happen. The more you will see people disagree with you and not think the same way. And when you are emotionally mature in business, you don't take it personally. You just know that that's the way the internet and business works. You don't have a failed launch as like people don't like you. You see a failed launch as almost like a series of numbers and metrics. Well, in order to convert at this percentage, I needed this. In order to convert at that percentage, like I needed 500 people on my webinar, whatever it is. And so it just kind of becomes a data point. You're like, oh, okay, cool, do better next time. Change that, or like, oh, okay, this person disagrees with me, that's fine. And someone who I see do this all the time, like stirring the pot all the time, is Alex Hormozy. He is known for, he created a brand and then sold it, and now he helps businesses who want to scale really, really big and then sell their businesses, I think. He always does posts that are like, work 16 hours a day. You got to get it done. You know, like, don't go to weddings, don't go to things. And he writes all these things. And then all of these moms are like, that's so easy for you. You have that. You don't have kids, etc. And I'm always like, no, that's the point. He's not trying to appeal to you. Like, he's intentionally stirring the pot. He's boosting engagement. And then all of the like really ambitious, 35-year-old ambitious men who want to create the big scale businesses that are really successful and can work 18 hours a day are like, yeah, he's my person. So he's polarizing, all right? And he does it intentionally. He does it like almost every weekend as well, when obviously parents are like the most frazzled, going to sport practice and things like that. And so he does that. And he would understand that sometimes people don't like this launch, or my message. That's fine. It's not personal. It's not about me. It's like about the message. And I am here to spread my impact. And the more that I dim what I have to say, the more that I don't get to make that impact at all, not even close to it. The next thing that I see in established business owners who have that level of business maturity is they're not perfectionists. They are not going to try and get everything perfect. Again, knowing that not everything always goes to plan. So if they're constantly trying to iterate and iterate and iterate before putting something out into the world, that is like, they're not going to be able to guarantee it is successful. And I don't know anyone, even at like $1 million levels, who executes on 100% of what they wanted to execute on during a launch. No one's perfect, even the multi-million-dollar business owners. So they don't wait for perfection to get things out there. Certainly when you have a big team, it helps because you've got multiple people to run things through. And certainly you should be concerned with quality in your business, but perfection, 100% perfection of everything is a unicorn and it doesn't exist, and it's going to slow you down. So the best, most mature and established business owners know that speed is one of their biggest assets, and that perfection can be something that diminishes that. Mature and established business owners also don't have the mindset of this has to work. So whenever I am coming into a launch, and let's say like there's been periods of time when I'm like, oh, the kitty is low, like the well is dry in business, there is still never a moment of like, this has to work. And I mean, one of the things I do is prioritize recurring revenue in my business. I plan months in advance of what our spend is. I track our spend. So there's never really a time when we go down to zero. And I plan launches in a way that, which I used to do in the early days, is almost like have a launch, then all of the funds would run out, then I'd launch again, then all of the funds would run out. So I don't launch that way anymore. I think that's also a sign of business maturity. But there's never a situation of this has to work. It may not work in that current iteration form time, but my philosophy is that this will work. Business will work. Maybe not on this timeline, maybe not in this way, maybe not the way I thought it would go, but failure cannot happen if you keep trying to improve yourself and stay in the game. The next thing, which is kind of similar, is emotionally mature business owners. And just to let you know, if you're like, oh my God, I think this, that's fine, because we have all been there. Like when you start your business, this is what it feels like. You want to aim to step out of that and elevate your thinking to a higher level at a CEO level. So what I'm about to say now, you might be like, oh my God, I've done that. No shade, we've all done it. Every single person has done it. And that is thought and got themselves into a little catastrophizing spiral. Nothing is working. So not only did, I don't know, let's say you have a membership and you had 10 cancellations in 1 week, at the same time as you were trying to launch a new low ticket offer that is the sales page is only converting at 0.5%, it can be really easy to get into a spiral of go, oh, nothing is working, I'm spending all this money on Facebook ads, etc., and feel like nothing is working, when it could be true that some things aren't working, but that there has been progress in other areas. So you should always be concerned with looking at all of the progress that you are making in different areas in business. And one of the things that I often do is, like, we often look and go, oh my God, am I behind? Like I thought I would be this X far by now. And provided that you are generally an action taker, I will go through and be like, oh my God, like this needed to be at this level by now, etc., etc. But when I go through and look at the annual plan that I set at the end of the prior year, and I put together like a quarter by quarter breakdown of the goals and focus items. When I go back and look at that, I'm inevitably always like, no, this is where I said I would be and what I would work on at this time. So actually, like this is where I'm at in business. And we can get into the frame of like launching a new thing, then feeling like it didn't work, etc., etc. Then one or two things break and all of a sudden it feels like everything is breaking, nothing is working, I'm never going to get to the next level. Like, I don't know, you want to get to $1 million and you're just stuck at $200,000 and you're like, this is never going to work. But if you stop to look at the real data and metric points, you can probably see that progress is being made. And then number 5, the last one, is from clients that I know that, have success, that things are working for them and they keep making progress, is they know that there is never a perfect time. They're not always saying like, I'm going to wait for things to settle down. They're not saying I'm going to wait till after school holidays. They're planning that for revenue in school holidays. They're not letting their business go down to zero. And they know that nothing is going to settle down or shift or change. There is literally never a perfect time. So it may as well happen now. So those are some of the kind of signs or things that I see in the clients that I have that are kind of mature and established in business. As I said before, I want to reassure you that if you don't feel like that, that's totally normal. You are totally normal. And, this is maybe a glimpse into what future may look like and what you want to aim for as you elevate and step into your CEO space. Thank you for listening so much today. I cannot wait to catch you next time. Bye for now.
Another episode on the books. If you'd like to continue the conversation and get more super savable tips, come and find me on Instagram at Robin Birkin. Otherwise, make sure you're subscribed and I can't wait to see you next week.